So when I went to the Walgreens today, I decided I would see. I've never tried this before, but I bought some pantyhose just to see if they would fit, and they do.
Welcome to the ItCast, Real Talk on Sex. Thank you for joining us. My name is Nika Cherrelles. Our episode tonight is sponsored by the San Francisco AIDS Foundation. During shelter in place, the San Francisco AIDS Foundation is able to provide on-site clinical care for anyone with symptoms of sexually transmitted infections or who might have had exposure to HIV. SFAF is also hosting online social events and activities for our queer and trans family Monday through Friday. You can check out that schedule at facebook.com/STURTSF, STURTSF. Here we go.
Good Lord.
Amazing storytellers, and they're going to be sharing some beautiful personal works, some very powerful pieces that are both activating, inspiring, and full of love and laughter and light. So I'm really excited to have this event for you all tonight. We are currently raising funds. The theme of the product is My First Sex Toy, and I am a sex toy designer. We are currently raising funds for the very first product that we're releasing, so I'll be sharing information about that throughout the evening, and please feel free to ask me any questions. And I'm so excited to be with you here this evening. Just to let you know about who I am, my name is Nika Shelton, also known as Nika Cherrelles. I own Nika Cherrelles LLC, and I also host the ItCast, Real Talk on Sex. The ItCast focuses on increasing diversity in conversations on health and sexuality, really to move to a global conversation that ends gender-based violence. So it really means a lot to me that you're here, that you're taking part in this conversation, and that, you know, you really get what the movement of this work is about. All right, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started with our first artist. We have singer-songwriter Zoe with a musical piece coming up for you first. Zoe, take it away.
All right, cool. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
I can only see some people, so hopefully you can hear me. I'm Zoe Curzi. Half the audience are people I know tonight. So the song is called Coming Out of the Closet Backwards. And so it's both about a moment that was a first for me, not a first sex toy thing, because my first sex toy was really tiny and ineffective and not that good of a story. So I picked a better first, a more exciting first, exciting in every way. And although this is like super pretty safe space for me, it's also like a sort of, when I was practicing this song, I got to the chorus and I was like, I can't sing this out loud. Like the words wouldn't come out. And so this is like a me also actually coming out right now live with you guys about something that you will learn about right now. Okay, cool. I think that's all. Yeah, and this is, I wrote this like a day and a half ago, so this is the world premiere of this song. All right, great. My very first girlfriend, I was 13. We made out in a literal closet. She was an Indian girl, she'd have been sent abroad if her daddy had found out about it. The next girl I loved, I was 20. She was political and stunning. Holy shit, sorry guys. The chat threw me off. I'm doing it. Here we go. The next girl was 20. She was political and stunning. She liked knives and me playing dominant. It wasn't what I found hot, but I gave it my best shot. She still left me for someone more confident. The third girl I loved was an intellectual Buddhist who looked like Greta Garbo. It was brief and inspired, and I never lied to her, but one day I told her I had to go. Then last year I met a girl who was born a boy, and we couldn't stop staring at each other. One day in the bedroom, just like on cue, we found found ourselves playing with skin and with hair, and she touched me down there, and her hips and her neck and her fingers, the smell, her fingers, they're not just her fingers, and oh my God. She had made me feel safe and asked, "Are you okay?" She was the first cutest person I had sex with. She found that out later when I casually said, "Hey, you're my very first cock. Do you want breakfast?" She was a little alarmed, but quickly was charmed when I just have to tell you, I said, "It rocked." As I delighted and raved, she said, "For a self-proclaimed lesbian, you sure seem to like cock." You know what, that's true, I did like it a lot. That's not what I thought. You know what, they are fucking hot. Holy shit, I like dicks. Oh my God, I could hardly believe it. Dicks in good porn and dicks in the morning. Cocks doing things that are anything but boring. The thought makes me happy. I'm a very aroused chappy. Oh my God, somebody stop me. I knew I'd get sappy. Oh, dicks when they're eager or small or they're large. Dicks when they're tortured or desperate or in charge. Dicks being dominant or learning a lesson. Dicks being friendly or dicks on my chest. I love dicks. I love dicks. I love cocks and all of their fun tricks. I like cock, I like dick, and I just can't believe it. I like it, I like it, I like it. Just so you guys know, this song is really long. You're gonna hear me say that chorus a lot of times, and this is me practicing, okay? I'm practicing, okay? Coming out. I know that it seems kind of easy and cheap for a cis girl to say she likes peanuts, but I built my identity. Okay, I said I would sing honestly on frankly finding them heinous. The truth I had found was incredibly profound, but I'm not the very first one to say it. Well, what truly matters in force of fact is not the cock, but the wonderful person attached. That sounds awfully wholesome, but don't get me wrong. I also like dicks in the abstract. I like cocks, yes, it's true. I like all of the fun little things that they do. Dicks in bad porn and dicks in the morning, and cocks doing things they're anything but boring. The thought is so happy, I'm a very aroused chappy. Somebody stop me, I knew I'd get sappy. Dicks when they're eager or small or they're large. Dicks when they're tortured or desperate or in charge. Cocks being dominant or learning a lesson. Them being friendly or dicks on my chest. I love cock, that's the truth. I love cock. How about you, my friend? I like cock, I like dick, but I just can't believe it. I like dick, I like it, I like it. Still not done with things, so I'm gonna keep going. Okay, great. I think I was afraid if I pursued getting laid, it would look a lot more like someone pushing me. And I didn't want that. Who wants to be attacked? Or finagled, or nagged, or persuaded, or dragged, or paraded, or ragged on to do it. Besides, boys can be so fucking stupid. I have spent most of my life positively terrified that if I liked what I liked, died. After that, I swore I'd never lie. I didn't realize what rocked my world was to be fucked by a very hard cock on a girl. I stop when she wants, and she stops when I want. But most of the time we do not want to stop. We keep going and going and going and going and going and going. I like it, that's the truth. I love cock, how about you? I like cock, I like dick, oh I can't believe I like it. This decades-old lesbian likes it. This decades-old lesbian likes it.
Woo! Brava!
Thank you, thank you. That was fun. Thanks, everybody.
Zoe, thank you so much. That was incredible. I have to say, I like dicks too. I surprise everyone, including myself.
Shocking. Who saw that coming, you know?
Right? But that was, yeah, the person attached, it helps.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zoe, before we move on to the next artist, would you like to share a little bit more about your work, where people can find you, if you've got any upcoming events?
Well, there's a pandemic, so I don't have any upcoming events. I don't know. I'm in a transition, so there's no particular place you can find me. Feel free to reach out after this. If you, I don't know, want to work together or play together, whatever. Talk about art, I guess talk about sex, because that's what this is all about. I'm also a filmmaker, an actress, a writer, playwright. So yeah, I mean, that's all. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me tonight.
Beautiful, thank you. Please drop your contact info into the chat.
Without
And we go. Also, everyone, just remember, this is also a benefit. Josh, if you could drop the information in the chat so that people can find out more about our work and what we're doing. If you'd like to tip any of the artists tonight, you can also message us when you make the donation so that we can contribute to these wonderful, wonderful people. And we have so much gratitude. The next artist up is going to be Jeff Kaliss, and we're going to have a number of his wonderful pieces throughout the evening coming in and out of flow. So Jeff, take it away.
Get the button. All right. We're playing musical Turn It On. All right. I'm Jeff Kaliss. And would you like to unmute yourself? I thought it was unmuted. All right. Am I being heard, Josh? Yes, thank you. Getting all these weird signs. The first couple of poems I'd like to read tonight. And Nika didn't say whether I was supposed to say anything about myself, so I won't right away. We might bring that out later. What I will tell you is I wrote this master's thesis at San Francisco State University, and it's full of poems and short stories and even nonfiction pieces about the things I love, which include, most of all, music. And within that subset, Brazil. So I'm going to start off with a poem which I think Nika might be able to show to you all that a guitar can be a sex toy. This actually is in the voice of a Martin D2 guitar. They're made in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. It's called D2 to You. Play me, play me. Let your fingers come along and leave the rest behind. Play with me. Play with me back to Brazil. You hug the Dalbergia Negra, my front, my sides, strong, curved, and shining. But I'll have you remember me on the moist mounds of Bahia, where a single seed from a single cone grows a gorgeous tumescence. Far above the busy river, up through the buzz and the bird song, into the falling clouds. Play me through my relocation of purpose. Felled by men and shaped to men's unnatural design, billets lying silent in a big building in American Nazareth. Rectangles within rectangles, what will come of this, we wonder? We, still dusky, still aromatic, drying, waiting, year after year after year. Play through my handling before I reached your hands. In a room full of humming men and women, where my spicy smell sprays to them in sawdust as they bend me to sinuous shape, fit me with a fretted board for you to finger, with strings to give me voices, and ivory dots to guide you in doing pleasure. Now play me again. Play a song this time of how my story has become yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, that was powerfully intimate. Like I can hear the dance. Thank you so much. And Jeff is going to be sharing with us throughout the night. He's got a number of very intimate and sensual pieces, and I have a lot of gratitude the way that we're really creating the mood in this space. Jeff, did you want to share anything about where people can find your work, and then we can also circle back later?
Well, you'll find me in two somewhat different places. I am a music journalist, and a great deal of what I write about now is on San Francisco Classical Voice. That's very similarly on the web, sfcv.org. I have a piece that'll be going up in the next day or two about Latin American jazz, actually. In addition, as you already know, I do write poetry, and I read poetry over Zoom when I can. I will very likely be at either the first or third Monday out of Burden Beckett. Burden Beckett has a poetry thing every Monday. But on the third Monday, I may end up at Lit Night, which is a project of the City College of San Francisco. A lot of the poets are from City College, a few from San Francisco State, but that also is a lot of fun. If anybody needs to know more, I guess I can tell you my email is jefkal@jefffkaliss.com. Ask me questions or tell me what I should be doing. Thank you, Nika.
Thank you. And please drop all of that info in the chat. Jeff Kaliss, everyone, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to take a small break here to just share with you all a little bit about some of my first sex toys. And I also have a poem that I created that was very much inspired by things that are going on right now in terms of the cultural climate of the world, the conversations around activism. And people know I make sex toys, but there's also the context that I am a historian, an activist, and a fine artist. So everything that I create has a purpose and some content. So this really is a greater conversation here. And I was sitting about what story would I tell about my first sex toy? And I went over a few of them. Some people have gotten to hear in the last couple of weeks. But I'm just gonna share really briefly really briefly about the Nikita, and then I'll do this poem for you. So the Nikita is a gun-handled dildo vibrator. It's based off of my fine art, and it's got a very edgy element, but it's designed to be empowering, inspiring, and to incite like role play and fun. So it's definitely edgy, and I love that about it. I'm happy to show you and tell you more throughout the show. And I am gonna go ahead and read a piece called "I Got Something in My Pocket." It's a little bit more intense, but roll with me, and I hope you enjoy. I got something in my pocket. This one is for George, Ahmad, Brianna, and Philandro Castile, Eric, Oscar, Mike, Botham, and Tamir. Let's not forget Trayvon, Sandra Bland, or Emmett Till. But don't tell me about it, because I know too much. And don't tell me about it, because I've seen too much. Don't push me. The edge is near and the end is nigh. When I knew that I had nothing left, I stared into the belly of the beast and begged for God to give me the answers. And I surrender. I surrender to you now. And just when I knew I was in the darkest of depths, the universe opened up for me. Looking deep into my soul, she whispered to me with the breath of life, "This is your time." In that moment, my heart broke and my soul set fire. At that moment, I knew that for every individual who refuses to wake up, I got something in my pocket, and I am coming for you. For every alt-right, all lives matter, MAGA maggot, I am not afraid. I am done with this shit. I am through. I got something in my pocket, and I am coming for you. If you're not scared of me, you should be, because my dick is bigger than yours. That was just the tip. My dick won't fit your system. My dick won't fit your construct. My dick won't fit your rules, because my dick is bigger than yours, and I am coming for you. Remember, this one's for George, Ahmad, Brianna, and Philandro Castile, Eric, Oscar, Mike, Botham, and Tamir. Don't forget Trayvon, Sandra Bland, or Emmett Till. None of them had guns, and died did they still. So believe me when I say it, and know that it's true. I got something in my pocket, and I am coming for you. The revolution will not be televised, but it has been scrutinized, publicized, and criticized. So you should hear me, not fear me, when I say, I'm done with this shit. I'm through. I got something in my pocket, and I am coming for you. Thank you. Woo!
That was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love that piece.
I got chills.
Oh, you know that.
Wow.
Some of y'all heard it for the first time, and I haven't shared my writing in a bit, but you know, this gets me really excited, and I love the space that we create here. So thank you for letting me share just a little bit about who I am and my work, and stick around. I don't like to pull my dick out immediately, but if you request, I will at any time. Just let me know, and just to let you know, I'm also horny for you. And we have another amazing piece coming to you from Jeff Kaliss. Jeff, come on down and grace us with your work.
Make sure to unmute, Jeff.
I just did. And am I still unmuted? Tell me if I'm not. Okay. I'm going to stay in that classic mode. We're moving from Shakespeare to a French poet named Pierre Louis, who wrote a book called Chanson de Billy-T. And Billy-T, as some of you might know, has a kind of connection to San Francisco because, check me out on this, Nika, Billy-T was a devotee of Sappho, and in 1955, the Daughters of Bilitis was founded in San Francisco by Del Martin and Phyllis Lyon. as the first lesbian political and civil rights organization in the U.S.
History.
I didn't know that until I Googled this a little while ago. So this is going to be a poem from the book with Bility, and then my translation of it will start in French, but they're both very short. Je me suis dévêtu pour monter en un arbre, mes cuisses nues, embrasser l'écorce lisse et humide, mes sandales marcher sur les branches. Toi non, mais encore sous les feuilles et à l'ombre de la chaleur, je me suis mise à cheval sur une fourche écartée en balançant mes pieds dans le vide. Il avait plu. Des gouttes d'eau tombaient et coulaient sur ma peau. Mes mains étaient tachées de mousse et mes orteils étaient rouges à cause des fleurs écrasées. Je sentais le bel arbre vivre quand le vent passait au travers. Alors je serrais mes jambes davantage et j'appliquais mes lèvres ouvertes sur la nuque chevelure d'un rameau. Here's my translation. I took off my clothes to climb up a tree. My bare thighs embraced the smooth and humid bark. My sandals walked the branches. Up high, beneath the leaves, and shadowed from the sun, I set myself astride a forked outcrop, balancing my feet out in space. It rained then. Drops of water fell and furrowed along my skin. My hands were stained with moss, my nails rouged by crushed flowers. The beautiful tree seemed to live when the breezes blew through it. I firmed my legs around it and pressed my open lips to the downy nape of a bough. Thank you. Do we have time for another one?
I'm actually gonna have you do the comeback from the break. Do you want to do two before the break, or would you, or?
Actually, if you like, I can read during the break.
Oh.
How would that be?
I'm okay either way. We're gonna have a 5 to 10 minute bio break, and then we're gonna come back with some more work from Jeff Kaliss. Jeff, do you want to just keep sharing?
How do you make?
Well,
you want me to keep going?
Or do you? Sorry, do you want to share this piece and then take a break, or do you want to?
What I would want, I think, is for you to call the break when it seems right. And once you do, I may just, if you don't mind, I'll keep reciting, and anybody that wants to duck in between their chores is perfectly, welcome to do so.
Okay, awesome. So do one more piece for us, and then we'll take a break at 7:45.
Okay, this one is in the mind of a young man who is in love both with music and with the opposite gender. It's called First Movement, Lento Allegro ma non troppo. Dear dark night, cherished flight from the bed my life has lain along, young skin unkissed, kissing cool, percussed by a strong but untested heartbeat, and trickled by fresh-tasted tears. Who is that swift, sweet she-glance who I hope will warm me into warming her fantasy of curved shiver, and come with me towards cold, clear adventure? I can be big with her, but with her can go small enough to surf the surges of everything, ready to lift us way beyond our startings out, way beyond what we are and what we might be, to join up in joining a giant joy which needs us all and doesn't need us at all. You told us so? We told ourselves, and it has always been waiting to be heard and seen by our tumescent ears and eyes to join and be joined by our eager new excitement, blowing with us or against us down the same serious street. We'll be warmed at the intersection where we'll breathe a church with entry for votive flowers and practice for aromatic harmonies blown through vestments. In this vaulted space, our touching fuses naive majesties, young bright eyes together watching old obfuscating clouds, blinking towards the newborn sun. You are us, we are you. You'll take us beyond you, what mother and father can make. But up close, or in the making of galaxies, it isn't really quiet, is it? And motion beckons motion, love's clangorous company, clambering towards a closing third. Thank you.
That was gorgeous, Jeff.
Yeah. I felt that. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, everyone. We are going to take ourselves about a 10-minute little bio break and pause. Jeff is going to continue to share with us. Please
For a
feel
little
free
bit.
to chat and drop info in the chat. We are going to come back at 7:55 with the wonderful Carol Queen from the Center for Sex and Culture. Very excited for her talent and skills, and enjoy yourselves for a few minutes. Get a drink, use the restroom, do what you need to do. Just turn your camera off.
All right, some of you may be hearing me even with your camera off. And if so, I hope you are thoroughly entertained when you're not doing something else. What I want to do is make sure I catch up with myself by reading something I didn't have the chance to read. And this is about a woman who actually lived in Pacifica, and I think she may be in San Francisco now. She's from Brazil, a marvelous entertainer, plays multiple instruments, sings, and composes. And I was getting together with her, talking about maybe doing a book up about her. We never got to that point, partly because things were going on in her life that took her off those tracks. But I did do up a poem based on biographical information I'd gotten from her. And the poem is called Celia, and it's in Celia's voice. I feel very connected with you as I am writing this, but also hearing this for the first time, just like you. And you, will you be cared for by Yaya, as I was, as a little girl in Rio, where my crazy flower of a mama left my father, the man in the television, left him helpless to put order in our hearts? Are you holding my hand? How do you feel when you read how much I care about your caring about me? Yaya was from Bahia, the warm boom of Brazil, and she came with Candomblé, the river on which the African saints had sailed westward in slave ships in dark days. Yaya cooked us cozido and plural and delighted with us in our girlish dancing. Luis Gonzaga Malheiros, my esteemed father, could never be a mama. So he sat himself at a worn wooden desk to prove the inexistence of God. Maria de Gloria, in her separate sticky room in Copacabana, missing the mothering of me, did auditions for death. Neither Louise nor Maria succeeded. And in between them, I began to hear the music, the breath of the waves, the clamoring coro of the sidewalks. And my way started to compose itself. I bloomed and learned to be plucked and tested my browned and blonded body by quickening its head with smoke and colors. Sometimes I saw what mommy saw and was glad and sad to see it. Daddy sent me away to the Disneyland of the North, where I learned to order greasy food with hard consonants. But I remembered to sing, and I found America yearning towards my diphthongs, seeking my salt-watered musical memories, wanting curing from my dear dead Yaya. Are you listening now as I sing Chojo and Bossa? Have you married me and made a mother of me? And now, are we world enough? Thank you. That's that poem. I hope that some of you heard it.
Yes. Thank you for all the performers so far. Next, we have the amazing, phenomenal, world-renowned Carol Queen from the Center for Sex and Culture, one of my idols. I'm so blessed and grateful to have you here, sharing your work and your love. Please take it away.
Nika, you are too kind, and thank you very, very much. I want to take you back in time a little bit, a few decades, and just turn off with me the main highway from Roseburg, Oregon to Diamond Lake. You've probably never been on that highway, because why would you go there? It's beautiful, I will say that, but it's not, well, it's not like it is around here. And I was a child from Mars. The one thing I knew as I was coming into puberty was that I was interested in trying to figure out what this sex business was all about. I read some slightly over my age range literature. My dad actually had the songs of Billy T in his bookshelf, so I got into that. I think he took it away from me when he figured out that I was reading it. Also, it was the one with the watercolor, pretty pictures of the women in it. I wish I still had that book. Anyway, we are turning off the highway from, we're way past Roseburg now, and I wouldn't recommend that you go there either, for that matter. And we're turning onto a gravel road, lots of potholes, lots of Queen Anne's lace and stuff growing up, almost obscuring the fence post. And we're going up, we're turning a right-hand turn, we're going up, and then we're going down into a driveway that leads to the house that my father, a third grade school teacher, was just able to buy in the late 1960s. And so I went to junior high and high school in this place, where you could not see any other houses out any of the windows, only trees and this big ratty ass yard that nobody ever did anything with. And in that house, when I wasn't squirreling my dad's quasi sex books out of his bookshelves and taking them into my room and not returning them for a long time. In this house, I also attempted to figure out what masturbation was. What was the definition of it? I was seeing references to it here and there in women's magazines and things like that. I would snag all of those magazines and read the sex articles especially. There were some, not like there are today, but there were some. And in this quest, I want to tell you, if you try to look up sex words in the dictionary in the 1960s and early 1970s, you were bound to fail. It was, the definitions were frightening, and they were also obscure enough that you couldn't exactly tell what they meant in the first place. Like it was very frustrating. And Roseburg was 30 miles away. Oh, sorry, they're coming again. I'm right in the city. Roseburg was 30 miles away. I couldn't get there on my own. I didn't have a way to get there. I didn't have anyone to take me unless we were going into town. And then I would run into the city library and I would look around to see if I could find any sex books, but they weren't in the section that they would allow me to look. So I was pretty screwed. But in one of the magazines, I read an article about vibrators. And I think this article was the famed article, an interview with Betty Dodson, the mother of masturbation, and some of you may not recognize this name, Betty Dodson. I don't quite have time here for a lot of footnotes, but I would really encourage you to look her up. If you get the chance, Betty Dodson is still alive. She has her own website where she answers people's sex questions. And if they send her pictures of their genitals, she puts them up online for everyone to enjoy. So I met her later and she was important to me, but maybe not ever as important as she was in this magazine article that made me look around the house in the hall closet. And in the hall closet, down right across from my parents' room, I squirreled around in there and I found what I thought might be a vibrator. I am now the person who curates the Antique Vibrator Museum at Good Vibrations. And even though we have been quarantined and socially distancing, you can, I think, look into this little tiny one-room museum. We're not filling it with people yet, but it's at the Polk Street Good Vibrations if you want to take a look at it, the antique vibrators, because some of you may think that vibrators were just invented sometime in the last 30, 40 years. You know, sort of like the tool of the second wave feminist revolution that we're trying to finish up in this decade because it never quite got finished. Not unlike a lot of revolutions. But in any case, yes, there were vibrators quite a long while ago, and I had gotten my hands on one thanks to my youthful squirreling around in my parents' closet. Now, I was 13 or 14 years old at this point, probably 14. And I had tried to masturbate without a toy. And I had borrowed some household things here and there, and I had used my fingers, but I could not get over the hump to orgasm, because some people have a hard time with that, especially before their nerve endings have grown to learn what it is you want them to do. That's actual science, by the way. That's a thing. That's a thing that happens. If you're better at masturbating now than you were when you first started, and who isn't, that's why. So I didn't know any of this. I did know that that might be a vibrator right there. And so I took it up to my room. I plugged it in. And let me just explain what this looked like before I tell you what happened when I plugged it in. I mean, I think you could probably imagine what happened, but this was a Swedish massager, a so-called Swedish massager. And what makes a thing a Swedish massager is that it rides on the back of your hand, springs or some other kind of attachment, attach it to your palm, and the vibrator itself rides on the top of your hand, and it makes your hand vibrate, your fingers vibrate. I think any of you who have ever experienced any vibration at all can imagine that that's a great innovation. It wasn't the Swedes who made it, by the way. The Swedes, I went to Sweden later. I went to Euro Pride, as a matter of fact, in Sweden in 98 or 99, and in Stockholm, and they were pissed the fuck off. I want to convey to you how upset they are that we keep calling all the sex things Swedish in this country. They're like, Swedish erotica is not ours. I'm like, Swedish erotica is mediocre porn. They were like, we had nothing to do with it. It wasn't the Swedish massager, none of that. And we're like, but we're Americans. And we thought that I Am Curious Yellow was like, it's not like Swedish. And they were like, gotta stop this. So who even knew we were profiling the Swedes? Do we have a problem that's that deep? Yes, I think we do. So it's a Swedish massager. I find that I can put it on my hand. When I turn the little switch on, It's made by Oster, by the way, the same people who make the blender that you make your margaritas in on the weekend. Maybe even this evening, maybe you're enjoying an Oster-made margarita right now. Oster made a few other things, but they made vibrators, and they made them for years. Why did my dad have a vibrator? Perhaps you were wondering. I mean, perhaps you think that he had a vibrator the way we have vibrators. That did not appear to be the case. I mean, you never know. He didn't fess to anything. He also didn't ask me for this vibrator back, nor did my mother. And you would think that at some point they would notice that that thing was missing, and they would say, where is that thing? Where is that vibrator? But no, that never happened. My dad had been a barber in the early 1950s after he mustered out of World War II and before Korea. And they would put one of these vibrators on their hands and do scalp massages on the crew-cutted men. Anybody else would get their hair caught in this thing and it would be a nightmare. But with crew cuts, the vibrator and the crew cuts went together. That's a fun fact I bet you didn't know. So I plugged the vibrator in and I turned it on. It began to vibrate quite strongly. I didn't even touch myself before I realized that I was dealing with something that sounded roughly like a lawnmower attached to my hand. I found out later that it made the TV roll whenever I used it. So if anybody was down there watching the television would go bonkers. So I had to learn to time myself carefully, wait till everyone was sound asleep, or else say, no, I don't really want to go into Roseburg. Honey, but I thought you'd like to go to the library. No, I think I'll stay home today. So I stayed home today a lot after that. It vibrated, my hand vibrated. I touched my vulva. I touched my clitoris. I had read enough magazine articles to know that the clitoris was what you wanted to aim at. Boy, is that true. I mean, not everyone is the same. Not everyone likes vibration. Not everyone likes strong vibration. Not everyone wants to touch their own clitoris. A little, Oregon is famous for its hydroelectricity, and I put it to very good use, I want to say, with my parents' vibrator that I stole, never gave back, took with me to college, used all throughout college, often living alone, so it didn't matter when the hell I did it and there was no television to roll. And finally, sold it at a yard sale to one of my graduate students to acquire a used vibrator. And she turned me on to Jane Siberry. So that was an excellent trade as far as I was concerned culturally. And then I went to graduate school. I finished graduate school. I moved to San Francisco. I enrolled in the Institute for Advanced Study of Human Sexuality. I learned more about vibrators. I started working at Good Vibrations. I learned a lot more about vibrators. I took Betty Dodson's advice, got a magic wand vibrator, still super happy with that, and it's been 30 years. Now, I just want to say that even today, it's 2020. This is a weird year, but we're what, 1/5 of the way through the century now? Time is moving on. Every day, people come into Good Vibrations or contact us online or wherever and are afraid to try a vibrator because they think they're going to get addicted to it or that their partner is going to be envious or jealous of it. They try to train themselves to orgasm during intercourse. It doesn't always work. Only about 70% of people who are cis women have orgasms, or actually only about 30% have orgasms regularly. with intercourse, although I will say that some people do like dick. Zoe, you were so right. And so it's not the same for everybody. And people walk in, it's 2020, they walk in with fear and shame at the idea of buying a cool little gizmo to do a thing with that will make them feel better. And especially this year, who doesn't want to feel better? And also, many of us are stuck at home by ourselves. What better time to masturbate? I'm just saying, I mean, I know that things are opening up. Whether that's a good idea or not, we will determine later. But I encourage you all to stay home more, nevertheless. And if you get squirrely, do what I did when I was a young person, squirrely, and get a vibrator. And it will make you feel better. And if it doesn't make you feel better, it will give you information about what you like and don't like as much when it comes to genital sensation and erotic touch. And that's always good to know, because this is a culture that still won't give us good sex education. This is a culture that still thinks that not only is it a good idea to just erase Black history, queer history, all the things, it erases our knowledge of our own fucking bodies. I would like to encourage everyone that my words reach, not to let that go down anymore. This is a time for us to look into the future and make it better. The only way to make the future better is not to masturbate. That is not what I'm trying to get across to you at all. That is not my feeling. That is not a fact. But I will say that if we are living in a time in our bodies, in a society that is attempting not to let us stand up, step up, however it looks, however it is, in all the ways, then we need to break that habit. We need to step out from under that thumb. And I'm just here to encourage everyone to do it in the ways that you can and that you will. Because it's 2020 and this is a linchpin time. This is a year that we'll remember if we live that long. Always. Let's use this year and have a fierce pride, everybody. Thank you.
Oh my God, the phenomenal Carol Queen. That
you said my first vibrator, and what else could I say?
Yes.
I just threw some contact info into the chat. So,
beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have to share, that share, Carol, brought up so many amazing things for me. And I've been to the Antique Vibrator Museum at least twice. It is such a good place. If you've never been, go check it out. You'd be surprised. I saw Remington vibrators, like all the hardcore tools.
Everything in our kitchens that where the company existed at the turn of the 20th century. Sure, we have some things that the company didn't exist yet, but everything where the company did exist, they pretty much made vibrators. They're vibrators from many companies that we still have, I don't know, hair dryers and shit now. So anybody who thinks that this is not like just regular awesome stuff, it's regular.
I love it. I love it. It's time to end the shame. Beautiful.
Just
Welcome
a second.
to you all.
Yes. Okay, so we are here with the special feature reading by Jeff Kaliss. Very excited to have some more of his work joining us today. And I'm going to go ahead and hand the floor over to you to take us away with some of your powerful, powerful pieces.
Thank you. I'm actually going to give you a gentle poem here. This is one out of youth and also out of music, because music has always been a big deal to me. When I started doing a lot of poetry, the music started coming through, kept coming through. So here's a poem called First Movement Lento allegro ma non troppo. And it's out of a young guy's listening to classical music in his head while he's also watching young women in his head. Dear dark might cherish flight from the bed my life is lain along, young skin unkissed, kissing cool, percussed by a strong but untested heartbeat and trickled by fresh tasted tears. Who is that swift, sweet she-glance who I hope will warm me into warming her fantasy of curved shiver and come with me towards cold, clear adventure? I can be big with her, but with her can go small enough to surf the surges of everything, ready to lift us way beyond our startings out, way beyond what we are and what we might be, to join up in joining a giant joy which needs us all and doesn't need us at all. You told us so? We told ourselves, and it has all always been waiting to be heard and seen by our tumescent ears and eyes, to join and be joined by our eager new excitement, blowing with us or against us, down the same serious street. We'll be warmed at the intersection, where we'll breathe the church with entry for votive flowers and practice for aromatic harmonies blown through vestments in this vaulted place. Our touching fuses naive majesties, young, bright eyes together, watching old, obfuscating clouds, blinking towards a newborn sun. You are us, we are you. You'll take us beyond what mother and father can make, but up close, or in the making of galaxies, it isn't really quiet, is it? And motion beckons motion, love's clangorous company, clambering towards a closing third. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so we have our last performer coming up to the stage. He's gonna do an amazing monologue, and I have to say, this guy, so powerful, so talented. I saw him perform. I was like, look, I need you to pull together a crew of amazing awesomeness, and he is at least half, if not more than the reason why tonight is so incredible. Thank you so much, Joshua. Let's welcome Joshua Selesnik, everybody.
Hey, thanks, Nika. Yeah, I mean, such a privilege to be here. It's cool. Never actually done a show on Zoom before, so.
Your spotlight.
I'm not, oh, yeah. There we go. Hello. Yeah, I've never actually done a show on Zoom before, so very new. No, not as much audience interaction. You know, I can't. Yeah. So I have a piece today. I've also thought about what my first sex toy was, and I actually have figured it out. So a little bit of soul searching. I think I was 13, and I was in the attic, the third floor of my house in New Jersey, and there was like a little rubber band that was like one of those yellow ones. It's like kind of thick, you know, like it's not normal sized. And it was really tight. And I was regularly going up there to masturbate anyway because it was great. And pornography right on the computer, unbelievable. And so I remember I was sitting on my mom's chair that she like did her office work in all day, with like the upholstery, the beige upholstery, and I had my pants down around my ankles, and I'm just sitting up there with like my big hairy butt, watching whatever I was watching, and I can't even. Yeah, I tried it on, and gosh darn it, I liked it. I liked it a lot. So I used it for like 3 weeks, and then I got scared that my testicles were going to fall off, and I had no one to talk to about that. So I just stopped doing it. But I've thought about it. I've thought about it from time to time. Haven't tried it again in a while, but it's always time. Anyway, I'm gonna do a character, so I'll just kind of get into it. Oh yeah. Well, you know, it's different. It's different at different times. You know, when you're young, you just you're a child. You're a child. You're being clever. But then, you know, you get older, and other boys, they get tall, they get lanky, and their voices drop. But, you know, that doesn't happen to us. You know, we hang on. You know, we do. Just like a baby who's falling down a well, and you've got its little foot in your hand, and you don't want to let it go. So, you know, you're really not one thing exactly. You're half man and you're half boy. And that is when you find that you can really do it. You know? Oh my God, and it's amazing. It's better than sex. It's better than beer. It's better than wine. It's like flying. It's like finding that wings have suddenly sprouted from your shoulders. And then, you know, you go on stage. And everything happens exactly the way that you want it to, and exactly the way that it was meant to, with full purpose. And nobody in the audience looks at anyone else, except for you. It's because, you know, you live in a sort of stolen time that that they can't get to, except through you. And it could disappear at any moment. That, you know, you're a soldier on the eve of battle. Every night could be your last. So I think that's why everyone likes it. I think that's why people come. You know, they all want to be that special person on that special night. And that's why they leave letters for us. That's why they give the notes to the bar boy. That's why they hang outside of the actor's door waiting. You know, I still get letters pretty much every day. And I don't just get them from men. You know, everyone just thinks that I'm a boyish bugger. But it's not true. I see women as well. And they are even stranger than the men are. They want me to wear a gown and makeup and come see them for supper. Oh, honey. Anyway, we'll get those clothes sorted out for you. We'll send them off to the boy in the other theater, and that should settle your debt, and you can stay on with us. Good. That's what you wanted, right? Scene.
Woo!
Yeah.
Thanks. That was really fun.
That's spicy. Feel like I'm almost in trouble.
Every day, Josh.
What?
You're terribly pretty. This should be your look every day.
Oh, thank you.
Social blue eyes.
Yeah. Oh, but thank you. Yeah, I love it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Beautiful, beautiful comments coming in through the thread. Joshua, are you performing anywhere? Can other people find more about your work, what you do? You just getting into this game?
I have a Facebook profile that you can come and see. Yeah, my name is Joshua Selesnick, and you can be my friend. And then we will be connected.
And then he'll invite you to perform in a sex show. He's a great friend.
This is probably the mildest sex show you could perform in, though, right? I mean,
yeah, this is pretty mild. Yeah. But yeah. So I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, most of my writing, I don't do too many public performances. I'm interested in doing it and curious, but yes, I would say just starting. So reaching out to me via social media or whatever it is. If there's something that you like or that interests you or that piques, you want to talk, that's the best way to reach me.
I love it.
So we're going to go back in time and back to music. This is what my master's thesis looks like. It's now sitting, in addition to on my shelf, on the shelves of the library at San Francisco State University, which may still be shut, I don't know, but at least my thesis is safe there. This is a poem I wrote after the death of Glenn Frey, the lead singer of the Eagles. So this is, it's called The Death and Everlasting Life of Glenn Frey, dedicated to Glenn Frey, 1948 to 2016. Well, I'm standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down, angel tits. Slowing down to pick up Glenn Frey, the guy from the Eagles, taking the early ride, the early flight south to death. Swing low, sweet flatbed Ford, early to death and early to rise makes a man legend, not always wise, makes a man gone, makes me feed the jukebox at the portals over forever nightcaps forever. Next morning makes me wake up to versify too early. Slowing down forever to take a look at me, young and firm and friendly. To take a look at her, take a look at Linda, Winslowing south on Route 17 and 10 to Tucson, to take a look at Linda Ronstadt, young and ripe and hanging on a gear shift. Hitching a ride on Linda's flatbed wooden stage way out west to the Whiskey A Go-Go on the Sunset Strip, full of LA girls in halter tops, full of kinds of fun, legals and illegals for guys becoming eagles, full of guitars to grab, drums to pound, keyboards to twiddle, full of the glad sounds of being, sung through Linda's succulent girl mouth, her chocolate eyes showing what we can do and should do to try and pull the reins in. Ride 'em, cowgirl, in tight jeans. After the set, we unplugged, went out back, and got older. We got sold, we bought, we broke up bands and marriages. We lost our hearing, or was it just the good music we lost? And here we are with Glenn, faded further than our jeans, on our last aching legs, long hair grayed and thinned, wheezing in the dust of Winslow, Arizona. Interstate 40 is the new Route 66. Glenn was 67. He wasn't new. But what a fine sight to see. A final sight, a girl, my lord, with angelic horde, slowing down to get old Glenn, dust him off, and carry him to where the songs are free and forever. She ain't singing, that girl, but she sure looks like Linda. When will she be back for the rest of us? And I do love that song. Okay.
Beautiful, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
But I realized that I didn't actually talk about any of my first sex toys. Does anybody want to hear that?
Yes.
So, oh my gosh. So I want to share about, so I did like start making toys at a very, very, very young age. And to give you a little context, I would kind of walk around the grocery store or the toy store looking for like something somewhat phallic shaped, but also innocuous enough to be a kid's toy. Give you the gauge about how old I was.
I stole my brother's Yago bricks.
Oh my gosh. So there was this candy shop, and they would sell these little vials of sour candy that were like about 4 inches long and maybe 1 inch wide. And when you ate all the candy out the middle, you could put some hot water in there and screw the cap back on. And oh my God. Oh yeah, spotlight. Yeah, thank you. Oh my God. It was the best. It didn't vibrate, but it was warm and it was phallic. And I have always enjoyed penetration. I am very queer, but I am very queer. So that was deep in the beginning. And then I also wanted to share, this is a great one. I've shared this with a couple of people, but you know those Benoit meditation balls that they have? You like meditate and regain your arm strength. I found out when I was very young that those are supposedly really fun to play with and use. And what I didn't know is that, like, they talk about like strengthening the pelvic floor and the Kegel muscles and all that jazz. So the idea is, put them in, masturbate or don't, and do some Kegels and then strengthen your stuff up. Well, I was a virgin. So I get them in there and I'm having a good time and life is good. And I finish and then I stood up and nothing happened. And I thought, okay, how do I get these out? So I like jumped up and down and nothing happened. And then I kind of like walked around my room and I like stomped and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to go to school tomorrow with my pussy playing jingle bells. This is not gonna go well. So I lay on my bed and I pushed for about 20 minutes. And after all types of struggle, I laid 2 silver balls, like little gold.
Oh.
I was so fucking happy. I was sweating. And I was so happy. Oh my gosh. And then I actually shared this with my mom the other day. My parents thought they were very slick. They were not. This is definitely going to date me a little bit. I love all the people who are like, the porn was right there on the internet. So the way that I got porn as a child, my parents were like the masters of bootleg porn, like, making for the family. Like, if ever I saw, this is how you did it in the 90s. You stacked one VCR on top of the other VCR. You put one tape in, and you put a blank tape in, and you hit play, and you hit record. And if ever I was walking around the house and I saw a TV off with a red light on, I just had to turn on the TV. Like, I didn't have to hide porn. I didn't have to hide anything from my parents. I just had to find it. It was the best life ever. Oh my God. That embarrassed my mom, but she lives. And then I told her about this really great video that I found in my dad's stash. And she was like, oh yeah, you saw that? And I was like, I've watched it about 30 times. I am really good at putting things back the way that I found them, where I found them. So that is how you grow a freak. And these are all my freak flags. And those are just some of the ways that I got engaged in this life. Yes. I wanted to tag you, Carol. You were talking earlier about people and having shame, buying sex toys. Buy sex toys. Do not have shame. If you have questions, ask me, follow me on social media, call me, text me. I'm not afraid. We could talk about all of it. And right now, I'm going to share with you the Nikita. This is the prototype.
Good.
This is the pink one. Happy Pride Pink. It's soft silicone with a tickler. Inserts from both sides. Comes with a 10-speed waterproof rechargeable vibrator that is also a bullet. And we're going to be shipping these later this summer. They're made right here in the US. We're gathering the funds to finish the production lines, and we are about to have these babies on the shelves very soon. So if you want one, please pre-order. You can get it at triggerhappytoy.com. You can contribute to the GoFundMe or via any other way. And I'll answer all your questions. All your questions.
Oh, I know what the tote bag needs to say. Make love, not war.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is a movement. It's time for the revolution, y'all. I had some cards that said make love, not war. And then I updated to make love and adventure, just so you guys could be in with the fun and the play.
Okay, this time we have a couple of poems written to a poet that I met at the City College of San Francisco, an attractive poet. And we agreed to basically do poetry ping pong together. So this is part of my play. It's a two-part thing. First part is called In Play. A sport of spheres. 51 years ago, 3 good-looking, close-cut American guys took it all the way from our Earth to the moon, whosever that is. I watched that on our TV, my and my first wife's. I don't think you were around to watch it yet, though maybe something which would become your words was moving, murmuring out there in space, waiting on what I would be saying, what I'd be caring about. Here you are now, on this anniversary in the game, parrying phrases with me. And here I am now, in terrestrial exchange, the pair of us making our own rules for as long as we can make things. And look at you, warming up, positioning body and mind between all the things that want you, among all the things you want. You look like you want to roll away the rules and play it where and when it lays. And whatever you put on or take off, you wear your uniform of playfulness. You fasten on that smile and giggle to follow your volleys of wistful words. Suited up, so are you playing for us? Are you playing to us? Are you playing to play? You don't have to choose. And you knew that, I knew that, I didn't have to ask. I'm just passing to you something you can play with. Number 2, game day. Forgetting yourself, myself. Might we find each other, the whole of us, mustering our mutual meters, freer than, funnier than the sum of our separations? We chalk the lines anew in brilliant white, the light, the sound shining off our brass, both after the anthem and in the middle of the 8th. For this outing, You're the pretty smile I seek out in the stands, where you sit and hug the existential towards the universal. Isn't that worth swinging for? And anyone who can and will us towards a win, and we'll all go home happy. Thank you.
Yes.